We have our first results out of Colorado's first congressional district. This is Denver. This is Congresswoman Diana Degette. And the initial drop of ballots, about 97,000 ballots in of what could end up being 145,000, 150,000, gives Melat Kiros a narrow lead, a 2-point lead over Diana Degette. That is incredibly significant because these earliest votes in are expected to be some of the most Degette-friendly votes that we will see tonight. The Kiros camp is going to be overjoyed by that. They are going to be thrilled that she has a 2-point lead in the earliest ballot returns of tonight. We are seeing, as of 5:55 p.m., so with an hour and 5 minutes left of voting, that 140,000 ballots had been returned in Denver. Now, that doesn't mean that was up to the second, right? It tends to lag by like 4 hours or so. We were on pace to exceed the Democratic turnout in 2018, 2022, and 2024. Conventional wisdom being that if Melat Kiros is going to upset Diana Degette and Colorado is going to send a socialist to Congress for the first time in history, that the larger the turnout is, the more it benefits her if she can expand the universe of voters. The other thing, though, that you heard from folks in the Degette camp, in the Kiros camp rather, is that they were not simply counting on younger voters or low propensity voters, but they also thought that there was latent frustration with Diana Degette among what you would call centrist Democrats or even just progressive Democrats who are not democratic socialists, and that they could make inroads into voters who traditionally would be Degette voters, but who wanted to see more action over the last 29 years. This first tranche of ballots right here, which we think is probably going to be, let's call it 2/3 of what we see, coming back for Kiros with a slight lead. This is DEFCON 1 for Diana Degette right now.
That's huge for Kiros. I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head. We've seen it time and time again with polls in Colorado and nationally of Democratic voters who are opposing and feel that their establishment candidates, people that have been in Congress for 3 decades like Degette, do not do enough to oppose the Trump administration. They're sick of the establishment. Degette's about as establishment as it gets in terms of how long she's been in Congress. So to have these early returns come in for Kiros, that's big. I think we'll also be keeping an eye on the returns for Wanda James, though. 7% right now. I don't know whether she peels a lot of votes off of Kiros or whether she would peel more potential Degette voters, but we will be watching that. You know, if she gets some significant late returns, that could decide the race.
Our Spencer Soysher is at the headquarters for Melat Kiros. I want to flag one other thing, Spencer, right before we come to you, because now we're just seeing our first ballots in at the statewide level. And at the statewide level, this is this is just a 98,000 ballot drop. This is from Denver. Okay, so what you're going to see, and I want people to be cautious about this when they see this, they're going to see a very tight race between incumbent Senator John Hickenlooper and Julie Gonzalez, okay? And people are going to say, holy cow, it's less than a 1-point race. Those are the Denver numbers, okay? Those are the Denver numbers that have come in that show essentially Gonzalez tied with Hickenlooper. Conventional wisdom is that Gonzalez would need to run well ahead of Hickenlooper in Denver and in the rest of the metro area in order to have a chance statewide. So just if people see this somewhere, they're going to see, oh, we've got 100,000 ballots in and Julie Gonzalez is hanging tight with John Hickenlooper. Those are Denver ballots that are in, okay? This universe is expanding just a little bit. I'm going to refresh the screen to see if I can match with what we have there. And now we have Hickenlooper expanding a lead statewide. So just everybody pump the brakes on that. All gas, no brakes at Melat Kiros' place tonight. Spencer, what was it like when they got their first look at the results?
So, I mean, it was quick, right? 7:01, these results came in, maybe quicker than we might have expected. And we had talked about how some of maybe the older Democrats may have voted earlier, and that we expected maybe some of Melat Kiros' votes to come later in the night. And if those initial results showed something even tight, they may have a shot here. And people here realize that. There's a strategist over here in my left side of the screen at the little booth. And the second that those numbers came in, there's the confetti cannon. That started going off. It's the pumps of we won. We won, baby. They realized very quickly what that meant, that if they had good numbers in those early returns, it was going to bode well for the Kiros campaign. We haven't seen her yet, but they all are celebrating here. They like the direction this is headed.
I mean, it's a really stunning situation, right? And all we have to go on in terms of voter behavior is what voters have done in the past, right? So if we are looking at what perhaps could be the most unfavorable group of ballots for Degette, still breaking for Kiros by 2 points, then what we see in the later stretch, right, what we're going to see at 8:30 tonight, what we're going to see at 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock tonight are expected to be younger voters, voters that are tougher to turn out. This could be run up the score territory for Melat Kiros. And Spencer, I would also point out, Wanda James, who has a name in Colorado politics, she's a CU regent, she's a cannabis entrepreneur, is barely making a dent, single digit, 7%.
Right, I mean, and right, they know this. They know, I mean, you look around this room right now, not a lot of gray hairs, Kyle. Like, this is a young crowd, and if young people show up late to the polls and are turning it in day of, this could get up there. It could get into the stop the count territory, right? And they understand that here. We have not seen Melat Kiros yet. I saw her walk in a little bit earlier, but even talking with her crowd, her campaign beforehand as well, they thought they might have caught the Degette camp sleeping, that they had a chance to do something special here, and that Degette's people maybe realized it a little too late. And we saw all that money getting poured in over the last week or so into that campaign for TV ads. They saw that here too, and they saw that somebody was maybe running scared.
Yeah, when we first realized that Diana Degette could be in trouble and that voters could send her packing after nearly 30 years in Congress is when Kiros' organization nearly kept her off the ballot at the caucuses in Denver, which again, it's a relatively small group of party insiders who are deciding who goes first on the ballot, who goes second on the ballot, and so forth. And when she almost kept Degette off the ballot, that was a wake-up call, and it was a suggestion that perhaps Degette had been caught flat-footed. And you see the Degette folks in the national media, especially over the last couple of weeks, saying, oh, we were asking for help. Oh, we were asking for help. This might have been over before Diana Degette had her shoes laced up on this one. And what you ended up with was a situation where all they could really do at the end is shovel money into the furnace being television advertising, which, you know, our bosses love, but they are shoveling money into the TV ad furnace, while meanwhile, the Kiros people had been out pounding the pavement for months.
Right, and there's certainly no confetti cannons going up there in the background while they're trying to listen to you talk as well. But you were seeing endorsements as recently as yesterday in this race as well. And I have to point out, I'm looking around this room right now, I don't see any prominent Denver Democrats, any Colorado Democrats that you're like, oh, they're in the room, they're endorsing the Kiros campaign. The only one I saw is former Denver mayoral candidate Lisa Calderon here, who very progressive as well. But again, were they asking for the endorsements too late? Were they caught flat-footed? And those early returns may suggest, yeah.
Yeah, and the fact that Lisa Calderon, who's a perennial candidate for Denver mayor and who is running now against the incumbent Mike Johnston, you know, she is as close as Kiros has to an ally in the establishment. But this just shows how if Kiros wins this tonight, and she is poised to win it at this point, how this will shake up Democratic Party politics, especially in Denver, but potentially around the state, because Democratic Party politics in Colorado have long been a wait your turn, stand in line, let the folks who have been around for a while lead, and they'll tap you on the shoulder when it's your time to go. And it's no exaggeration to say that there were dozens of Democrats who were waiting for the opportunity to run for Diana Degette's seat. Melat Kiros moves back to town. She grew up here, moves back to town and goes, you know what? Let's do it now. How about now? And she bypassed all of those other Democrats who were waiting in line because she said the moment was ripe for a challenge now. And Democratic Socialists believed that the moment was ripe for a challenge now. The question is, what impact does this have on other situations? Does this make Mike Johnston's life harder as mayor? Does this make his reelection more difficult? Does this push other Democrats in Colorado to the left? I mean, Mallory, you really can't underestimate the ripple effects of what we could see here.
This feels like a rising tide lifts all boats kind of situations for more leftist candidates. I think the Melat Kiros campaign has thought throughout the campaign, we've got this in the bag, we can do this, now's our time. And a lot of establishment Democrats and political insiders said, you know, you're getting ahead of yourself, this is Degette's lane. The establishment in Colorado has been so top down for so long. You have multiple, multi-year incumbents. You have Diana Degette for decades, John Hickenlooper, who's held every office known to Colorado. So the idea that a candidate could come seemingly out of nowhere and potentially unseat an incumbent like Degette, I think signals for anybody that it's never too early to challenge an incumbent in Colorado, and now's the time to make that happen.